Why do American tourists have such a terrible reputation abroad? I'm sure you're all very aware of the stereotype of the Americans that don't learn worldwide geography nearly enough during basic schooling. That is true to some extent, but this goes far beyond that. Let's do a story time. I lived in France for a little bit more than 9 years, traveled to quite a few different European countries, and almost every American tourist that I met while I was there was trying to go above and beyond and be extra polite and make an extra effort, even if they were using Google Translate, to speak the language because they didn't want to push that stereotype or fall into the stereotype of the rude American. There were a few notable exceptions, but you have buttheads and idiots in every single country. There's not a single country where everybody is just super polite and super cool. But one day I was in a little cafe in Montpellier and I overheard this couple that was speaking in English to the restaurant. I assume he was the manager or some sort of assistant clerk, something important. He was talking to them at the cash register, trying to explain things to them. They were refusing to try to speak French. The manager offered to get out Google Translate and they're like, no, speak English. And they were forcing English on this guy, right? And so the manager, I can tell, is getting a little bit frustrated. This couple is being incredibly rude. And I hear the manager tell his other work colleague, like, oh my gosh, these stupid Americans, they're so rude, they won't even try to speak French. And he was totally crapping all over Americans and American culture. But this couple was not American. They were Finnish. They were talking about their flight back to Helsinki. I heard them talking earlier. They were 100% very much Finnish. They had a pretty strong accent while they were speaking English to this French manager. But because the French manager didn't speak well, all he heard was people, an English-speaking couple that was really rude, and so he assumed they were American. That happened to me once, and I thought that was like an uncool coincidence. But it was a pattern that kept happening over and over. I saw this happen multiple times while I was on business trips up to Paris. As soon as the English-speaking person was refusing to speak French in France, or as soon as they were being nasty or rude, the French people around them would be like, oh, les Américains. And it was not Americans. Like, one guy had a very clearly Scottish accent that was so thick, I, as an American, was having a hard time understanding him. My theory is that, well, yes, there are absolutely Americans that go abroad who think they are just the center of the universe and that everybody should bow down to them and they don't make any effort to assimilate to the culture where they're staying. But also because English is so widely spoken and it's kind of become a almost universal tourist language, we get also all of the reputations from the other jerks from other countries piled on top.